South Carolina, we've seen 3 consecutive quarters of house price appreciation in South Carolina in 2012. And this is something that you need to stamp into your brains and communicate to your buyers, because before, a lot of buyers were on the fence, and the reason is they, like anybody, are not interested in purchasing an asset that's going to depreciate in the short run. And now that we have evidence that we've basically cleared that hurdle and housing prices have bottomed out and have turned around, that needs to be communicated to your buyers. So this is very, very important to learn and to communicate, because this can move people off the fence, and it's one reason that people have been putting off buying a home. If we look at the FHFA for markets in South Carolina, Charleston and Greenville have really been carrying the weight of this appreciation so far. Columbia, not so much. There have been some other markets that have had smaller changes. But Charleston and Greenville have seen the major increases. I'm hoping we'll see more. We'll see new data come out next month for the fourth quarter of 2012. But I anticipate that this will get better, not worse. Better for Greenville and Charleston, and closer to bottoming out for Columbia and other markets as well. If we compare the MLS data to the FHFA data for price changes, we can get some perspective on preferences versus appreciation. One of the things I always comment on, and some of you may have heard me talk about before, is that the FHFA gives us a sense of house price appreciation and depreciation, because it looks at house-over-house transactions over time and compares the same house. So a house that sold in 2000, and 2005, and 2010 can be compared. And so you can get a realistic assessment of appreciation and depreciation of that house. The MLS activity, on the other hand, the MLS average prices look at a snapshot. All houses that sold in 2008, all houses that sold in 2009, 2010, and so on. So when we do year-over-year comparisons there, you may not be looking at the same houses. So the MLS data gives us a perspective on what consumers are wanting, what their preferences are. Are they buying more expensive homes or less expensive homes? So if we compare MLS and FHFA data specifically, we can look at it over the last 4 years. So naturally, both went down in 2009 compared to 2008. In 2010, and I think this really highlights that difference. You can see that due to the homebuyer tax credit, people have more money to spend on a house. So naturally, the average sales price went up. No surprise about that. But house price appreciation was continuing to dwindle in 2010. In 2011, the trend returned, and then finally in 2012 here, we've seen increases both in house prices from the MLS and for appreciation from the FHFA. So this shows us that not only are house prices appreciating again, but consumers are to the point now where they're more confident in their discretionary income, more confident in their employment situation, maybe willing to spend a little bit more on a house than they would have been several years ago.